It's safe to say for the better part of the decade, the NFC North has been dominated by the Green Bay Packers. And of course, this past NFL season, they won the NFC North yet again. But in today's video, I wanted to analyze who could possibly win the NFC North in 2021 as we continue our Who's Winning Blank Division series. Before we do get started though, make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed, as it really helps out the channel and shows your support for this content. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the videos on here so you do not miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we are on the road to 500 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'll do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever and a Q&A. We are really close to our goal. But anyways, with that being said, let's just get this video started. And the first team I want to talk about is, of course, the aforementioned Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers, of course, in 2020, as I said before, they won the NFC North. And their case to win it yet again, it's pretty straightforward. They sport a star-studded roster, and I mean, it's loaded with talent. The offense, well, they just have the reigning NFL MVP, bro. I cannot speak. They have the reigning NFL MVP in Aaron Rodgers under center. Plus, they also got Davante Adams, who's arguably the best wideout in the league. Along with that, they also got a great ground game composed of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, who could have a breakout season in this upcoming season. Along with that, they got a pretty good offensive line. The defense, it's a pretty similar story. The front 7 is far from amazing, but Zadarius Smith, along with, a lot of other key contributors, they form, I guess, an alright front 7. Plus, they got a really good secondary. Jair Alexander is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Plus, Adrian Amos is also one of the best safeties. And Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage, they form one of the best safety duos in the NFL. And overall, they just got a really amazing roster. I expect them to be one of the best regular season teams, in 2021, as, well, they do have a tendency to be really dominant in the regular season. Now, they do have their issues. I mean, for one, they really could use a number 2 receiver next to Davante Adams. Along with that, with Corey Linsley's departure, they do have a gaping hole at center, and the front 7, it's not exactly the strongest, so that's not too good either. But even then, Green Bay still has a great team, and at the very least should be a wild card team and should be in the mix to win this division in 2021. Up next, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings and their case to win the division. Now, the Vikings last season, they were not exactly amazing. They only won 7 games, and a large part of that was due to the fact that the defense, it was awful, placing 29th overall as a unit. Now, as bad as their defense was this past season, there's no doubt that their offense, it's really good. Kirk Cousins, by any means, is not amazing. I'm not trying to say he is not amazing, alright? But he's still a decent quarterback. But they also got Dalvin Cook, who is one of the best running backs in the NFL and should be a nice option to hand the ball off to. Justin Jefferson also had an amazing rookie season, and Adam Thielen is also a very solid wide receiver. And Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, they form one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league. Along with that, I guess speaking about the defense real quick, well, as I said before, it was bad. It really was bad. But a large part of that was due to injuries. Danielle Hunter missed the entire year, so, that was already a blow. Eric Kendricks, he missed 5 games, which is quite a bit. Along with that, Anthony Barr only played 2 games, so, that did not exactly help out the defense. Along with that, they had a young secondary, and cornerback is a hard position to play in the NFL, so cornerbacks, they take some time to get used to in the NFL, and as you can imagine, with Davante Adams and Allen Robinson in their division, well, they had to play them twice a year. Yeah, you can imagine how that went. However, they did make some nice with all those guys coming back healthy, the defense should definitely improve. Along with that, they did make some nice offseason additions. They were able to acquire Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson from the New York Giants, and Dalvin Tomlinson's a very good run stopper. Along with that, they also added Patrick Peterson on a 1-year deal. And although he is not exactly the same player he once was, he is still, I think he could still be a decent player for them. Along with that, he should be a pretty good veteran presence on Minnesota. And Who knows, he could also teach the younger guys, some stuff about the NFL and could help them improve. And speaking of those younger guys, I do expect them to improve. But not only that, the Vikings will own the 14th pick in this year's draft, and they can use that to help make the defense even better. Maybe they do spend it on the offensive line, as the offensive line, it's not exactly that good, but they can use that 14th pick and use that, to patch up any weaknesses they do have. I mean, if Kirk Cousins plays decent and the defense is average to above average, then this team could be a pretty good team in 2021. They have all the tools to win now and could definitely be a playoff team. I do feel like quite a bit of people are not talking about Minnesota enough, when they bring up teams that could make the playoffs in 2021. But moving on to our final team, we have the Chicago Bears. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys think I'm dumb as hell for putting the Chicago Bears right here, and I'm just gonna waste your time. But hear me out. I was high on the Bears coming into, the 2020 season. And for the beginning of the portion of the year, it looked like I was correct, and I could just say, hey, I told you so. But then they collapsed and finished with an 8-8 record, and of course they would make the playoffs, but they would get bounced in the first round. But getting to the Bears' case, the quarterback play, it is really uncertain. And the offensive line is also not that great. But offensively, Allen Robinson is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And if they can get him to a long-term extension, that would be great. Along with that, Darnell Mooney, I really like him. And he had a pretty good rookie season and could be even better in the 2021 season. Along with that, the backfield, it is pretty good. David Montgomery had a breakout season, and Tariq Cohen will be coming back from injury. They should form one of the best backfields in the NFL. However, the defense is really where you get to, the good stuff. Well, okay, don't take it. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. The defense is really where I think their case can. That's probably the biggest reason why I think they can win this division. For one, they got Khalil Mack. I mean, going over to the defense, they got Khalil Mack, as I was saying before, and he is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. I don't have to say a lot for Khalil Mack. Plus, Akeem Hicks is pretty decent. Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the NFL and is quickly becoming one of the best defensive players in the league. Jalen Johnson had a really good rookie year, and who knows, maybe he could even have a better season in 2021. And Eddie Jackson is one of the best safeties in the league. And of course, releasing Kyle Fuller, it was a really dumb move. So yeah, Ryan Pace should be fired and all, but even with Kyle Fuller's release, they still have one of the best defenses in the NFL. However, the biggest X factor and the biggest, deciding factor for this team and how good they will be is easily the quarterback play and the play calling. Now, from what we know right now, Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback for them in 2021. And at this stage of his career, he is way more of a game manager. And if he can play that role well and the play calling is good, then this team could actually be pretty decent. We should also mention that the draft is approaching soon, and they could use those picks to get a franchise quarterback. Maybe they trade up and try to aim for Trey Lance. That's a little unrealistic, but maybe they decide to take a chance on Mac Jones. I've been hearing some good things about Kellen Mond and Davis Mills, so maybe they do take a chance on one of those guys. They could use that on a franchise quarterback, or they could use that to improve the offensive line, or just any weaknesses in general. All I can say is that the Bears, I think they do have a decent team. It is all just dependent on the quarterback play and the play calling. If those two things are good, who knows? Maybe they could win the NFC North. But with all the three of those teams, laid out, on side note or disclaimer real quick, I didn't include the Lions since I really can't see too much of an avenue where they do win it into the division. No offense, Lions fans. Anyways, but getting to my final verdict on who I think will win the division, personally, I'm gonna have to go with the Green Bay Packers. And I hate to be boring, but here's why. First off, I think the Packers should probably win this division yet again. Even if it's not a flat-out dominate, even if they don't flat-out dominate, which is what I'm trying to say, I do think the Green Bay Packers will end up winning. First off, they have the most talented roster in this division, and one of the most talented rosters in the league, and they are currently like one of the best teams in the league. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I do not expect him to play like an MVP next season. I mean, that it's really just because that type of play is not too sustainable, especially at the stage of his career he's in. Along with that, they do have to, I mean, I still expect him to play like a pretty good player. Along with that, they do have Devontae Adams, as I said before, and they just got a really talented roster overall. The Vikings, to me, are also kind of uncertain, as we do not know how good their defense will be. And if they have a really bad defense, I'm not sure if they can win, the division. As, I mean, Kirk Cousins is not a good enough quarterback to necessarily carry the team. I mean, if the defense is just, really bad, I don't expect them to win the division. The Chicago Bears, as I recently went over not too long ago, they do have a decent roster, and if they have good quarterback play, they could maybe win the division. However, that is a massive if, and same as the play calling. We don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, and we don't know how good the play calling will be. So the Bears are really uncertain. But so ultimately, I went with the Packers because, well, they're the best team in the division, in my opinion. They're the most certain, and they're just the most talented. However, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. But with that being said, that'll wrap up today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content on here, so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we are on the road to 500 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'll do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever, and a Q&A. But with that being said, I am out, you guys.